Bye, have a great time.
ADR, this is King Black. This video is going to be more of a commentary, and I titled this video, Why El Chapo's extradition will have little to no effect in the long-term picture when dealing with these massive drug organizations. And the simple answer is that there is little to no fear in the cartel side of things. It used to be true that in order to dismantle an organization, you had to cut off the head of the snake. But now the element of surprise is gone. You already have at least 5 different people at different levels within an organization, like the Sinaloa cartel, groomed to keep operations flowing as before in the event that the main figurehead is arrested or killed while still remaining loyal to the original figurehead while still alive. Such is the case with El Chapo. This organization is still fiercely loyal to him, regardless if he's in prison or not. The worst the United States can actually do is deprive him of most of the luxuries he would otherwise have in a prison south of the border. You gotta understand that over there, they are in constant threat of being kidnapped, tortured, killed every single day. Also, given his high notoriety, El Chapo would most likely be permanently held in solitary confinement. So this limits opportunities for any rivals to get to him, especially given the number of eyes that are currently following the story. And Joaquin Guzman, aka El Chapo, isn't the one moving product on the ground physically or personally, distributing kilos throughout the US. The biggest threat these organizations face isn't law enforcement, but rival cartels and each other. To these massive groups, law enforcement is just an annoyance, if anything, as these massive seizures of multi-ton shipments does put a little bit of a dent, but you have to think for every time they make a bust, how much more is flowing into the United States and other parts of the world undetected. It is only during the 60s, 70s, and 80s was the optimal time to shut things down. These were the decades most critical to shutting down the South American drug empire. But once crack finally hit the streets in the late 80s, early 90s, it was the point of no return. These organizations just exploded. There's too much money being made, too much potential money to still be made for these organizations to be crushed in any effective manner. The question really is, aside from the death penalty, which in this case isn't allowed since El Chapo or any criminal that is extradited from Mexico as part of the terms of the extradition treaty between Mexico and the United States, it stipulates that any criminal that is extradited from Mexico to the U.S. cannot face the death penalty in the U.S. So, what is effective against these organizations legally speaking? That is the question that still remains unanswered. In the meantime, the only thing that is occurring is the wasting of millions and potentially billions of taxpayer dollars in this war on drugs that truly isn't going to stop, especially until the economy of Mexico gets better. Because a lot of people, even though there's poor people everywhere, but for the most part, the standard of living in Mexico is lower than in the United States, hence why a lot of Mexicans try to immigrate to the United States for a better life. And the allure for those that can't afford to make the trip to the United States, the allure of easy money through drug cartels is almost too powerful to pass up. In the big picture, 50 years to life in a US prison may seem like heaven as compared to the alternative of them ending up in an ISIS-style video in the woods of Mexico, about to be decapitated, and possibly already have been tortured and beaten.